Alrighty, so today I'm going to be drawing a fish with a Pilot G2 0.7 millimeter pen in black. Now the Pilot G2 are one of my now the Pilot G2, I'm getting my words all jumbled up already. Now the Pilot G2 is one of my favorite lines of pens in general. I love pretty much all of the sizes of every single Pilot G2 there is to offer, but I am especially a big fan of the Pilot G2 0.7 and the Pilot G2 1.0 because in my opinion, those are the best Pilot G2s to draw with, although that's just for my specific style of drawing. I think all of them are fantastic to write with, and I'd have to say probably my favorite Pilot G2 in general is probably, honestly, this one right here. This is one of, if not my favorite disposable style pen, and it is the Pilot G2 0.7 millimeter pen in black. I really do love Pilot G2s. I think they write so well. I think, honestly, the weight of the pen is pretty good. And overall, I'm just a huge fan of them. There's so many reasons I could say as to why these are, as to why they are one of my favorite pens to draw with, to write with. They're one of my daily drivers kind of thing. I really do like Pilot G2s. And honestly, I will admit, I know I just said they're one of my favorite pens kind of thing, if not my favorite disposable pen. But I haven't used Pilot G2s a lot recently, in all honesty. I've been kind of working my way through the rest of the other pens I've got. And I have kind of been missing using Pilot G2s in general, I will admit. So as such, today I most certainly am very excited to, well, draw a fish with a Pilot G2 in 0.7 millimeter size. I'm going to be drawing in my Soho Urban Artist sketchbook today. And now, without further ado, let's go ahead and flip to an open page. There we go. And let's go ahead and get right to drawing. I'm just going to go ahead and bring down the tripod just a little bit, just like that kind of thing. And let's go ahead and just start talking about the weight of the pen before I go ahead and hop into actually drawing a fish with this pen right here. So I definitely have to say the weight of the Pilot G2 when you're about to draw and everything like that is definitely, I'd have to say, somewhat evenly weighted. But I'd also have to say there is also a decent amount of weight towards this end right here. And I actually prefer the weight of the Pilot G2 when compared to, honestly, most other disposable pens, just simply because the weight of it, it feels a lot more natural. It feels a lot nicer. It fits in your hand very well. The grip actually is really nice, although my one complaint with the grip is that if you leave out this pen in the sun / in hot anywhere, the grip gets really sticky and really gross and starts to attract hair and dust and lint, and it gets disgusting. That is my one complaint with this pen that I really have right off the bat. This can turn really gross really fast, but the grip is really comfy. The weight is really nice, and it's just a very nice ergonomic pen to use in my personal opinion. Let's go ahead and start off with the jaw of the fish, though. So I'm just going to do one layer just so we can see the potency of the black, just like that kind of thing. And we can see the black is pretty potent kind of thing. It's definitely pretty potent. It's not as potent as something like, let's say, a 1.0 millimeter size pen by any means, but it is still quite potent than not. It is still definitely quite potent, that is for sure. It's definitely more potent than not. Get my words all jumbled up, you know what I'm saying? And definitely a lot more potent than some other 0.7 millimeter size pens. Although I would have to say it is more average than not kind of thing, but that's not a bad thing in my opinion. It doesn't really need to be all that much more potent because it is a 0.7 millimeter size pen. And what I like about this pen is just how smoothly it writes. I just love how smoothly it writes. And then we can see right there going at an angle kind of thing. It goes at an angle pretty good and everything like that kind of thing. And we can see there's some areas which are darker and there's some areas which are lighter. It definitely does not have the most consistent darkness to it by any means, but I don't mind that at all, in all honesty. I do not mind that at all. Let's go ahead and see if this smears. It does smear a little bit kind of thing. It does definitely smear a little bit, but it's nothing extreme by any means. Now, I will admit the 1.0 G2 smears quite a bit more, but it makes sense because it's a 1.0 pen after all. But where the Pilot G2 0.7 really shines, in my opinion, is one, handwriting. I think it's a great pen for handwriting. And two, it's doing sketchy style pieces of art. I think the Pilot G2 is really good for sketchy style pieces of art. Just doing one layer, it doesn't really look all that special. It doesn't really look all that unique when compared to other pens like, let's say, the Papermate Inkjoy or the Sharpie S Gel or something like that kind of thing. It's not really a super unique look for a pen. It's not any more bold. The color isn't any more bold or anything like that kind of thing. But where this pen really shines, in my personal opinion, is one, the ink does not really fade, even when it dries kind of thing. The ink does not really fade. It tends to stay the same exact color as it is when you first put it down on the page. And two, where this pen really shines, are sketchy sort of style drawings, which is a style of drawing I really enjoy doing, because then you just have the opportunity to make this really, really, really dark, and it actually stays that dark because you put the ink down, you put the pen down, whatever color it gets out of there, that is the color it's staying. It does not fade particularly much, if at all, which I really, really, really do like about this pen. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I'm just gonna go ahead and start doing the second layer on this fish right here. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and do some areas where I feel like I need to darken them up kind of thing. And then after that, I think I'm going to let you guys know my final thoughts on this fish right here, or on this fish right here, on this pen right here. Yes, my final thoughts on this fish. I mean, like, it's a pretty good fish. I can't complain, you know what I'm saying? I do suppose those are my final thoughts on this fish. I did not mean to say fish. I meant to say pen. But no, I really do like the Pilot G2. Do I think there's better options out there? Certainly, I do think there's better options out there, and I think some of the other pens I've spoken about before in other videos definitely are very comparable options to this pen right here. But honestly, one of the main reasons why the Pilot G2 is my favorite pen is one of, not, I don't want to say it's my favorite pen because it's not my favorite pen, but one of the reasons why it's my favorite pen is just simply because I have so many memories with Pilot G2s, and I've used them for so long. I've literally been using Pilot G2s for, I want to say, like over 5-6 years now, consistently kind of thing. It was my go-to pen in both high school and college, and after high school and college, it was still my go-to pen for both writing and drawing. I love Pilot G2s. I've used them for a long time, and a lot of the reason why I love Pilot G2s it's just simply because of the memories I have associated with them. But I do suppose that's not such a bad thing, right? Another thing I really like about Pilot G2s, though, that I almost forgot to mention, is that the insert can be taken out. Like a lot of disposable style pens kind of thing, you can take the insert out. Except that this insert can actually be used in a lot of other pens. So even if you don't want the Pilot G2, this area of the Pilot G2, the insert itself is actually still really, really, really nice kind of thing. And you could use that in pens like the Pilot Metropolitan. And there's a couple other even higher end pens than that that take a Pilot G2 insert. It's a very, very, very good insert to use with a lot of different pens. And I really, really, really do like that. And that is definitely another one of my favorite things about the Pilot G2 that I completely forgot to mention until just now somehow. Let's just go ahead and continue going over this, and we can just see that that color, now that I'm actually going over the lines just a couple more times, is coming through really, really, really boldly, and that color is not fading either kind of thing. That color is not fading. It's coming through very boldly, and it's not fading, and that is definitely one of my favorite things about this pen right here. You get sort of like, I'd have to say like a gray color the first time around, but then once you start layering it on and on and on, and you get a thicker, thicker, thicker color, it just starts to become darker and darker and darker and darker until you almost hit a very nice crisp black, which I really, really, really do like. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. And this is really where the pen shines in my personal opinion. Let's go and do the fins real quick. Now, the 1.0, if I remember correctly, I haven't used a 1.0 in a little bit, I will admit, but the 1.0, if I remember correctly, comes through very dark on the first round, if I'm remembering correctly, as said. The 0.7, though, being smaller, does not do that, but that is to be expected because it is a 0.7 millimeter size pen, and that is pretty typical for any 0.7 millimeter size pen. So let's just go ahead and darken up those areas I wanted to darken up. But no, I really do like the Pilot G2. Do I think there's better options out there when it comes to disposable pens? I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are. And I've used some other very, very, very good disposable pens, of course. But I think the pen for me, at the moment at least, is definitely the Pilot G2. It might smear a little bit. It might not be the best pen for every job kind of thing. But it's a pen that does the job. It's a pen that does the job, and it'll do it well every single time kind of thing. I really do think that the Pilot G2 0.7 millimeter pen, the Pilot G2 line in general, they're all fantastic pens. They're all very high quality. They might have their issues. They might smear a little bit. They're definitely not as fancy as some other disposable pens like the Sharpie S Gel with its no smear technology or whatever kind of thing. But this is a good, well-rounded pen that lasts a long time as well. This pen lasts a long time kind of thing. It lasts a very long time. That's one of my favorite things about this pen as well. It lasts a long time. And it just is a good, overall, well-rounded, very nice pen that's nicely weighted, easy to use, not too expensive, lasts a long time, and does the job you need, and it does the job every single time. It's a great pen overall, and while it is average in a lot of categories, it's also fantastic in others. And overall, I'm a big fan of this pen, as I'm sure you guys can tell. I am kind of conflicted. I was talking about some of the issues with it in today's video, and honestly, the issues I talked about, I mean, like, yeah, they're like issues I'd complain about some other disposable pens I use, but it's like the Pilot G2 for me. I'm biased because I really do like this pen so much, so I'm like, okay, yeah, this is an issue, but like it wasn't an issue for me until this video, because I just realized that this is like an issue I criticize other pens for, when this is an issue the Pilot G2 has always had, like smearing ink kind of thing. It's never something that's bothered me. It's just something I've gotten used to about using this pen, but it's something I criticize other pens for. So do take what I say in this video with a grain of salt, that is for sure. But, you know, overall, I am a pretty big fan of this pen right here, the Pilot G2. And I certainly hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. That is for sure. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are on this pen right here in the comments down below if you guys have used one of these pens before. And of course, please make sure if you guys have enjoyed watching this video where I drew a fish with a Pilot G2 0.7mm pen to like and subscribe for more content. I have my Instagram, my book, my merch, my P.O. box, and my main channel all in the description down below. Go check it all out. But you know, thank you very much for watching, y'all. To the next one, stay safe and peace and have a great one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying?